In the name of God, 10th of September 2024. Neurological programming. I had learned previously of this gift of being able to memorize a page by reading it from the end to the beginning. In other words, you are essentially claiming that you know all there is to know about the topic matter, that you can say it completely from memory. Neurological programming was used to also say a programming of the neurological and metacognitive faculties in a way that the most perfect programmer would will for the programmed tool to be. It is not until people started implementing artificial intelligence that they started to realize the connection between artificial intelligence and neurological programming. People find it required that in order to program a robot or an artificial intelligence, it has to have the ability or the capability to process received information. This received information would have to be captured from the environment through sensory devices and sensors, which require knowledge of a specific programming language, which would allow for such interactions with an integrated digital environment. This in itself is not neurological programming. The term NLP was made to replace this term, which means natural language processing, which established a false assumption that the human was instead a processing device rather than a programmable device. The concept of a programmer for the neurological pathways in a creation like humans would require absolute faith and belief in the ability for the programmer to change the source code of the creation. In other words, your heart can be switched at God's will. Your heart can either be made hard or open to the mention of God's name and words. Does it never occur to people that when God's name is mentioned, they feel the peace in His name, and when others are mentioned, this peace either goes away or is altered? God does not change, and therefore this peace cannot be God despite God's holy name, the peace. If God's name is mentioned in a Trinity, do you think that God is happy about it? Has any person ever tried to begin the prayer of the Trinity and then stop at the first name? Have you ever tried to call upon God's name at the beginning and not continue the remaining Trinity parts? It seems very sad to begin the Trinity saying, "In the name of God."